You look at Da Vinci, one of the greatest creative geniuses of our time. Elon Musk, boom, always starting things. They're driven by the first thing, curiosity. And in curiosity, most of us, I was coaching someone earlier today, most of us ignore some of our curiosities. And that should be, we should have nurturing curiosities always. Okay, I don't care if you're 80 years old, nurture some curiosities, because there might be something that's birthed out of that. A curiosity often becomes a passion. Passion often becomes a purpose, and a purpose often, but not always, becomes a path.
I mentioned your book, The Genius Within. Genius Within.
Yeah, first book.
So first book, you mentioned you wrote it in first trimester, right? So we're going to talk about that book, but first, where can they get the book?
You can get a free copy at thegeniuswithinbook.com, or go to Amazon. Of course, we have it on there. But it was driven by a quest to help high performing leaders find their deepest area of genius.
Let's talk about that book just a little bit, because writing a book is one of the next chapters. See what I did there?
Boom, boom.
It's one of the next chapters in my journey.
Yeah, come on.
And we're working on spearheading some signature keynotes around to mirror some books. So talk to me a little bit about I'd love to know just your experience being an author for the first time, tackling something like that. And then for me, the mission is what's going to drive the work. You know what I mean? It's not something, I don't want to write a book to write a book. It's something I feel called to put out,
Love it. Yeah. And likewise, I felt a call that I needed to birth this and mainly for the learning journey. I was like, this is not going to be my bestseller, was how I framed it and thought about it. And I was like, we were early in the depression battle. So I was like, my life, internal, personal life was chaos. But I was like, I know I have something here. I know I have something the world needs and that will change people's lives. And I just embraced that, hey, this is going to be about progress over perfection.
Yeah.
So that helped me relax, knowing that, as a first-time, you soon to be a first-time author, I was like, I know I can go back and rewrite this if I need to. But I'm really proud of the first version too. So I started, what was really the genesis of it was I was guiding some leaders and high-performing leaders and masterminds. And I was like, all right, they come to me advice, what should my next business, career step, whatever, what's my right role within my new entity or business? I was like, everyone is different. And I remember I've had, over 400 leaders take a bunch of different personality tests, and they come out different. And they'd have really 4 different key areas. Your unique talents. So I have people take 5 different personality tests. My favorite is the wealth dynamics for entrepreneurs, because it shows you your natural pathway to build wealth out of 8 profiles.
Okay.
Because Warren Buffett built his wealth very differently than Elon Musk.
Right.
Less risk. Rockefeller and Carnegie built theirs very different than Warren Buffett.
Right.
And so you learn these different profiles and figure out which one I am, because you're going to be more in alignment instead of resistance internally on your wiring. Then the second thing is, and then of course I do Myers-Briggs, DISC profile, Colby Index, Enneagram, etc. And the second thing is your defining life experiences. So you played pro baseball. I played college baseball. That was an defining life experience as well. But then my wife's mental health battle helped me become hyper aware of how trauma shows up, because I was not aware. I didn't recognize it. Now I can see where leaders are unconsciously stuck with some trauma. And it might not even be from them or their lifetime.
Right.
But it's a cloud over them. And so now I want to help people get through that battle. Like, that's a passion to get them free.
Yeah.
Third is your key relationships. Like, who lights you up? Who brings you life when you're around them? And then who brings you death? Avoid them like the plague.
That's a big one. Yeah. That's huge, man.
Yeah. And when I started thinking about this, like probably 10 years ago, I was just in real estate. I had a few other businesses, but I was primarily in real estate. I was like, I love being around authors. Why do I have so many best-selling authors as friends? Now I have like a Mark Victor Hansen as a friend. He's sold 500 million books. Him and J.K. Rowling, the only 2 people in the world. Well, who am I? Like I hadn't even written a book. Didn't even think I was going to write a book at the time. And then the fourth thing is your values and passions. What do you stand for? What do you stand against? And your passions. So like you look at Da Vinci. one of the greatest creative geniuses of our time, Elon Musk. Boom, always starting things. They're driven by the first thing, curiosity. And in curiosity, most of us, I was coaching someone earlier today, most of us ignore some of our curiosities. And that should be, we should have nurturing curiosities always. Okay, I don't care if you're 80 years old, nurture some curiosities, because there might be something that's birthed out of that. A curiosity often becomes a passion. Passion often becomes a purpose, and a purpose often, but not always, becomes a path. So, but like Elon Musk was curious about space as a 10-year-old. He was reading all these books and encyclopedias on space, right? You were probably curious about pro baseball. I was as well. But then I realized at 19, that's not enough of a passion to carry me to the next level.
Right.
So you figure out I've been curious about peak performance since I was like 17 or 18. More initially for the athlete, how do I get myself like to perform better? That's where it started, and then success in business. So if you feed what you want to live and starve what you want to die, you'll stoke the flames of some next chapters and some very interesting opportunities for you.
You know, even in business, you find that the higher levels that you achieve as you're working your way to the top to around the best, you learn that the talent level, it basically just like the differences in talent just disappears. Everybody's really good at that place. And then you find out that usually, like, you know, everybody that got to a certain level at the highest standard is usually had really good work ethic along the way. So like, you know, something that Bradley taught me that I use all the time, the 3 key ingredients of all success is mindset, skill set, habits, you know? And so like, even as a player myself, I got to, as an elite athlete, I got to an extremely high level, but not the top level. Like, so like, again, this is how important your mind is, folks. My goal was to play professional baseball, which is what I did. My goal wasn't to catch for the New York Yankees. And if it had have been, maybe, who knows, right? But if you think about it, I got to a place where, mindset, skill set, habit. So my skills, I was an elite athlete. It got me there. My habits, I worked my butt off, right? My mindset was the piece that I lacked thereof, right? Because my goal wasn't specific enough. And I got as far as I dreamed I could go. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's the same thing that I found in business. It's, you know, it's the mind that's so powerful.
You know, you remind me, I just finished reading Michael Jordan's biography, A Life. And I heard about it on this other podcast where it goes through biographies. And you know what he loved? And when he was astonished when he was on the dream team.
Yeah.
He was shocked because none of these other guys loved practice.
Right.
He loved practice.
Yep.
He was like, these guys are coasting on their talent.
Yep.
And their raw skills. And yeah, they worked a little hard and they kept themselves in shape mostly. But he loved, like, and Phil Jackson said, it astonished me when he said that. He said Michael Jordan was the greatest listener he ever coached.
Right.
He was a sponge. He wanted to be coached. He wanted to get sharper. He was driven, that mindset, always getting better. And when he came back to the Washington Bullets or Wizards at the time, and they, these young players, he was abrasive because he was like, these guys are coasting.
Yeah.
And he didn't understand that they were not bought in to practice.
It's crazy how, you know, I coach my son's baseball team, and they're 14 this year. And even it's about 12 is when it really started happening. All of a sudden, like, you know, doing the right thing is not the cool thing. You know how that gets when you're a teenager, you know?
Yeah.
And it's exactly that way in practice. And one of my favorite things about the Last Dance documentary with Michael Jordan, there's when there's a clip in there where they're showing Phil Jackson talking to the team, and everybody's got their heads down except for Michael. And Michael is staring staring a hole through Phil Jackson's face. He's so intently listening to learn. Folks, anytime like, anybody that wants to truly be a champion of any type, they're always looking for ways to get there, right? It's not necessarily shortcuts, but maybe it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're looking for ways to get there. So, you know, 2 ears and one mouth.
Yeah.
Phil Jackson's arguably one of the greatest coaches of all time. And Michael's like, you know, even if he wasn't Phil Jackson, he might say something that I can use that's going to help us win.
Exactly.
Right? So why would you shut your ears off
Yeah.
and not be in that moment because you might get that gift. You never know what the gift looks like until you have it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's freaking awesome, dude.